Ready? Welcome, everybody. The time is now, 3:31, and I hereby call the April 4th, 2021 meeting of the Area Plan Commission to order. Before we begin, I have a few announcements to make. The APC meeting is being held in person on the 4th floor of the county chambers of the County City Building and virtually via Zoom video and teleconferencing options available via links and phone information posted on our website at sjcindiana.com. Due to issues with usage of video by persons viewing meetings, the county has determined that is appropriate to require during virtual and partially virtual meetings that members of the public viewing meetings keep their microphones and cameras turned off. The host of the meeting will turn the members of the public's microphones and cameras off. During portions of the meeting where public participation is permitted, the participating member of the public will have their microphone and camera, if any, turned on. If any member wishes to participate in this portion of the meeting, they should indicate this by using the raise hand function in Zoom and/or by messaging the host in the chat function. When on the phone, please use *9 to use the raise hand feature to be called on, and you can use *6 to unmute. To use the raise hand feature on Zoom video, click the controls on the button on your screen. If you have two computer video windows open or have a phone line active with the video window open at the same time, you'll create an echo effect, making hearing you impossible. Please choose one option. In consultation with the St. Joseph County Department of Health, the following protocols will be placed for meetings held inside the council chambers. Face coverings will be required for everyone in the chambers, including board members, presenters, petitioners, and members of the public. Seating in the chambers will be limited, as members from different households will need to maintain 6 feet physical distancing. Once your item has been discussed and voted on, please leave the chambers by the doors in the rear of the room. The double doors should be used as an entrance only. Regarding public comment, I will first ask for any public comment from those sitting in the chambers and then in auxiliary seating in the building. Once those in person have provided their comment, those calling into the meeting remotely will be given the opportunity to provide public comment. Those wishing to provide public comment in person should line up in the podium, line up on the footprint stickers on the floor leading up to the podium. Hand sanitizer will be placed next to the podium. We ask that you sanitize your hands after you leave the podium area. Sign-in sheets for the public comment have been removed to prevent everyone touching the same pen. For this reason, please clearly state your name and address. Please do not be surprised if you are asked to spell your name for the record. Your speaking time will not start until after this is done. We appreciate your compliance with these guidelines and your patience as we navigate through these unprecedented times. Due to wearing face coverings and for the benefit of people listening over the phone, we ask that commission members state their name when making a motion and a second. Now that the announcements are over, may we please have the roll call.
Mr. Devon.
Present.
Mr. Hawley.
Virtually present.
Mr. Lambright.
Present.
Ms. McCombs.
Present.
Mr. McNamara. Mr. Moffett.
Present.
Ms. Rawls.
Present.
Dr. Thacker.
Present.
Mr. Ewell.
Okay, that is 7 present out of a 9-member commission. If any petitioner would prefer to have their petition heard with more members present, they may ask staff to have their item tabled to a future meeting when more members might be present. We do have enough for a quorum, so we will begin in. Let's go ahead and have the reading of petition number 1.
Petition number 1 has been tabled at the request of the petitioner.
Okay, and we don't need to make a motion on that.
No motion is necessary.
Okay. Petition number 2.
APC number 2954-21, a proposed ordinance of the town of North Liberty to zone from no zoning district to R1 single-family district, property located at 701 State Street, town of North Liberty.
Okay, Ryan Fellows here. This is a property that due to some administrative oversight in the past, when this property was annexed into the town, It should have been given a zoning district. It was not. And so this is simply to clarify, or to fix, I should say, this oversight. So we're proposing, and this was an application submitted by the town council, and the town council is asking us to favorably consider and then return that favorable consideration back to them to have this zoned to R1 single-family district. As you can see, the property to the north is already single-family. There is already a strip along the highway that is already zoned R single-family, where the single-family home is already located. And this just is continuing that further to the back of the property. And then the next petition will take care of the other parcel that has not been zoned yet. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. And again, because the town is the applicant, there's not a presentation by the applicant per se, because we and the town are the applicant.
And then this is Abby Wiles, Director. Just to add, I believe that Vicky from the town of North Liberty appears to be on, if there's any questions for the town, from the town's perspective.
Any questions by the commission?
The front property in the blue.
Okay, so we don't need a reading by petitioner, so should we just jump right into
Public comment.
public comment? Okay. So I will first open this up for anybody in person that is wishing to speak in favor of this petition. Please come forward. State your name and address. Seeing none. Anyone on the Zoom or teleconference wishing to speak in favor of this petition, please raise your hand. Seeing none. Is there anyone wishing to speak presently against this petition? Please come forward and state your name and address. Anyone on the teleconference wishing to speak against this petition, please raise your hand. Seeing none. Any comments, questions by the staff or commission members? If not, can we have a motion?
This is Jason. I make a motion that we send this to the county council with a favorable recommendation.
This is Elizabeth McCombs. I'll second that.
To
Just-
the town council, correct?
This will go to the town council.
I'm sorry, town council.
We have a motion and a second to send APC 2954-21 to the town council of North Liberty with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor state by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Petition number 3.
APC number 2955-21, a proposed ordinance of the town of North Liberty to zone from no zoning district to R1 single-family district located on an unaddressed property of 3.47 acres, more or less, directly west of the parcel with an address of 701 State Street, town of North Liberty.
The conditions of this property are very much like the last petition. In this instance, thank you. The blue with the diagonal lines indicates this is the kind of the back parcel of the same area. This again was when this property was annexed into the town, it was not given a zoning district. This is correct, that administrative oversight. I did speak to the property owner over the phone, and I believe, if I understand correctly, he's right here. And his concern when he spoke to me, and I'll let him expand on his own thoughts, was that this might preclude the ability to hunt. because it would be inside the town limits. And I explained that zoning is not going to affect whether he's in the town limits or not. That was already settled years ago when this was annexed into the town. And so whatever action we take, whether it's zoned or not zoned, does not affect whether or not it counts as being in the town. This meeting does not pertain to that. That action has already happened. But I will let him expand on his own thoughts, and I'd be happy to answer any questions, but the conditions are just like the previous petition.
So since he's a property owner, do we let him come speak as a petitioner against or in favor, or?
The bylaws do not specify, but I think our past practice has been to allow them as much latitude as a petitioner would ordinarily have.
I mean, I don't know if he's in favor or against, but whatever side he wants to take, he's certainly
Yeah.
welcome to take.
We'll just go through the process and he can come in and speak, so. So we'll start off by, or I guess any questions by the commission or staff? So let's go ahead and start by anyone present wishing to speak in favor of this petition, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone on the Zoom conference wishing to speak in favor of this petition, please raise your hand. Seeing none. Anyone in person wishing to speak against this petition, please come forward and state your name and address.
Hello, my name is Craig Vandenbosch. I'm the owner of this property along with my wife, Jamie M. The spelling is on the sheet. I'll give it to you later if you'd like. I object to this. I've spent over 20 years developing this property in a natural, taking it back to nature, and it's a classified forest. I see no point in zoning a classified forest as R1 residential. I've spent a lot of time on my own personal money and to put it in the city, and they've already commented that the next parcels, which are the rest of my property, that they want to put in the city. I'm going to stop it here. I do not want this in the city. It's been, an oversight that took somebody 35 years to find. Give me a break. It's a convenient thing that the two ladies that own the property, the one before this and this one here, were adamantly against this annex originally when it was done back in '84. And then all of a sudden they got quiet. Lo and behold, their two properties are the ones that just didn't get put into the city for the tax base. I think it very convenient that that happened. Now, do you have any questions of me?
Okay, I don't think, like Ryan clarified, it's not really our job to say it's in the city or not in the city. We're just giving it a classification because it needs to have
Well, I
a
understand.
classification, so.
The R1 residential, is that for the deer and the coyotes and the fox and everything else that's out there they're going to make them residents of the city of North Liberty? You could call it R1 residential. Or somebody going to build a house in a landlocked property?
I mean, I'm speaking for the staff. I mean, we're just trying to give it a classification of some kind, I think is the,
Well, the whole thing has been a mistake, and that's my opinion.
right,
And you asked if anybody had an objection to it, and I said yes. And those are the reasons why, sir.
okay. Thank you.
Okay? Thank you very much.
Yep. Anybody else against this petition present wishing to speak against this, please come forward. Seeing none. Anybody on the teleconference wishing to speak against this petition, please raise your hand. Seeing none. Do we have, I mean, we really don't have a rebuttal, or do we, since the staff is,
Just that the classified forest could continue under the R1 zoning and that your role would be to send it to the town council with your recommendation and they would have the final action.
And I'll just add that for the town, the R1 is the lowest classification available. And so this is the baseline, if you will.
okay. Any comments, questions by the commission? If not, does anybody have a
This is Bob Hawley. I would like to make a motion that we send it to the town council with a favorable recommendation.
This is Jason. I will second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to send APC 2955-21 to the Town Council of North Liberty with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. We have a reading petition 4.
APC number 2956-21, a proposed ordinance of Hospice of St. Joseph County, Inc., to zone from B Business Commercial District, site plan specific, to B Business Commercial District, not site plan specific. Property located at 109, 111, and 135 Sunnybrook Court, and an unaddressed property of 295 square feet, more or less, located north of 111 Sunnybrook Court, Town of Roseland.
All right. This property is within the town of Roseland with a South Bend address. It is located just off of 933 in a neighborhood that has a mix of smaller commercial buildings and single-family homes. The rezoning for all 4 parcels appears to have been handled in 3 separate rezoning hearings, each with a site plan attached to the approval, which was a common practice under the Area Plan Commission years ago. The site plans on file shows the building and then parking area to the west, to the east. Included within the original approval were some landscaping screening the parking lot, which is why when this project came through plan review for the interior remodel and site improvements associated with the project, it was flagged as needing to be rezoned to remove the site plan. The proposal is to rehab the existing facility that was previously the Center for Hospice Care for the Milton Adult Day Services. It is a day center for folks with dementia and Alzheimer's, and will offer therapy and basically day services. In addition to the interior remodel, they're proposing to do some parking reconfiguration and some site improvements at the rear, including like a gazebo and sidewalk area. Staff has been working with the town of Roseland representatives, specifically Pete Augustino, their attorney, and it is our understanding that they are in favor of it. There is some concern regarding the auto body shop being for therapeutic purposes and not that it's operational. It's my understanding that Chris Chalkley with JPR, who prepared the site plan, and a representative of DJ Construction, who's working with the petitioner, are on the line if there are any questions.
Okay, so they're the petitioner. Right. Any other questions by the commission? Otherwise, may we have the petitioner?
Great. My name is Chris Chalkley. I'm with Jones Peter Afinski. Our address is 325 South Lafayette Boulevard in South Bend. Here representing the Center for Hospice Care on this project. Some clarification is when Abby mentioned the garage, the automobile garage area. One of the things I wanted to let everybody know is that this facility is going to be the first of its kind in the nation regarding immersive programming and comprehensive caregiver training, which means that like the garage is gonna be representative of, someone's garage, that they can go out and take a look at a car and maybe tinker with it a little bit, but there's gonna be no operational vehicles or major repairs. Interior space is gonna have a theater and a diner and someone's kitchen. So it helps them kind of get through their process. In addition to the outside, we're looking at a therapeutic garden. It'll have a putting green and kind of hands-on kind of gardening, as well as a pathway with a gazebo just for remembrance of like their home or other components they've been in. So we're definitely proud to be representing the Center for Hospice Care, and really think this is a very important facility.
Thank you, Chris. Do we have anybody present wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Please come forward. Seeing none. Is there anyone online wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Please raise your hand. Seeing none. Anybody present wishing to speak against this petition? Please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone on Zoom wishing to speak against the petition, please raise your hand. Also seeing none. Any last questions by the commission?
For the record, this is Bob Hawley. I'd like to acknowledge the very nice letter that was written by Michael Wargo. I thought that was very caring, and I understood what they're trying to do. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Can we have a motion?
This is Jason. I make a motion that we send this with a favorable recommendation.
Bob Hawley seconds that motion.
We have is this county council or town of
This will go
Roseland?
to the town of
Town of
Roseland.
We have a motion and a second to send APC 2956-21 to the town council of Roseland with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor state by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. We have a reading for petition number 5.
APC number 2957-21, a proposed ordinance of Ward Living Trust with Thelma J. Truex and Laurel L. Kublik as trustees and life estate for Laurel L. Kublik to zone from A agricultural district to I industrial district, located at an unaddressed property of 23 acres more or less at the southeast quadrant of Spruce Road and Early Road, and an unaddressed property of 60 acres more or less located at the southeast quadrant of Edison Road and Elderberry Road, together totaling 83.42 acres more or less, St. Joseph County.
Okay. This is in the same New Carlisle area that we've seen several petitions in the last few months. The parcel that has the diagonal lines in the middle, that's kind of an L shape in the southeast corner of Edison and Elderberry. To the north of it is the town of New Carlisle. That dark blue is a general industrial. And then around it on all the other sides is county industrial zones. And when you look to the next parcel to the south, that's crossed, has diagonal crossing on the southeast corner of Spruce and Early. That's the second parcel of this application, and it is surrounded on 3 out of the 4 sides by the county industrial zoning as well. As you can see from this picture, you see Iron Coat in the background with a dirt road on Elderberry. And then similarly, when you're on Spruce, you can also see Iron Coat in the background with a dirt road on it right now. And there's also a home on the property. And as you can see from the site plan, cutting across diagonally, there's a faint outline of the overhead utility line by AEP. That is their easement. And that kind of cuts across the entire property, so that does limit what this property can be used with on its own, and it may have to be paired with other properties if projects are large enough. This is a map of the 2002 comprehensive plan. This is the land use plan section. The light blue on this map is the industrial growth area, which is the parcel in the north L shape. And then on the other parcel of this application is part of the reserve area, which is reserved for the year 2000 and beyond, which we're in. And so both of those qualify per the conditions of the comprehensive plan. And looking at the criteria found in state law, staff has outlined them in the staff report, and I'd be happy to go through them in any greater detail. But this comes to you with a favorable recommendation from staff to recommend to the county council favorably.
Thank you, Ryan. Any questions by the commission at this time? If not, may we have the petitioner, please?
Sure, this is Aaron Blank with Lawson Fisher Associates, offices at 525 West Washington in South Bend, Indiana, representing the petitioners, Board Living Trust on this rezone petition. We're here to present the petition for rezoning on this property to use that has been acknowledged since the inception and every iteration of the comprehensive plan as an allowable or even a preferred use. So I'll start with some information about the overall area. As APC staff has alluded to, some other rezonings have happened around, and some minor particulars about the property, and then I'll summarize. So in terms of the overall core development area identified by St. Joseph County through its redevelopment commission, which has been working with the town of New Carlisle and all of township officials to create a development agreement that solidifies the core development area, restricts certain uses, and establishes development guidelines. Others could speak on the particulars of that development agreement better than I, but the basic vision of that core development area is to have a larger development site or sites occupying the roughly 730 acres that are zoned south of this location between Larison and Willow down to State Route 2. The vision of the core development area outside of that 730 acres is for accompanying developments of the 80 to 100 acre size that are aligned to either be directly supporting or tertiary to larger development uses. This property certainly fits into that category as well. We have heard in the past that there's already enough industrial zoned land in this area and that rezoning should be limited until that property is developed. I'll remind Plan Commission members that we haven't reached that complete industrial zoning acreage limits of the comprehensive plan. And as noted in the staff report, this property meet all the goals of the comprehensive plan, and in line with that. The only area where we might be deviating at all, and is pointed out in the staff report, is in terms of goal 1, and which is to alleviate and minimize loss of agricultural land. I would argue that the concept of the IEC core development area is in keeping with goal 1, and that having a conglomeration of industrial uses in a defined area with a defined use, defined development standards that are using the same roadways, utility infrastructure, and a potential workforce goes a long way to meet that goal of alleviating and minimizing loss of agricultural land. Simply because alleviate means to temper control, and temperament and control of the industrial development is exactly what the IEC core development plan is intended to do. And that's why it's supported by those signatory stakeholders. This rezoning petition and others like it are not ill-conceived or knee-jerk reactions. They're the execution of a comprehensive planning document that lays out the vision for the economic development potential of St. Joe County. I'll agree that it may seem some to sudden, and with the recent emphasis on rezoning near this property has been designated as prime industrial development since the inception of the comprehensive plan. So rezoning this property to industrial is another step in furthering the vision for St. Joseph County to lead the region economic development that ultimately benefits residents of St. Joseph County. The petitioners are keenly aware of the transformation of longstanding industrial nature of this neighborhood due to the fact their family has owned, occupied, and or operated the property under the ward name since sometime in the late 1960s. So the fact that there's no site plan associated with rezone petition, which has urged some to consider this to be a speculative type zoning that we don't know the end user yet. I'll agree that there is speculation in that aspect. But what's not speculative about this is the level of restricted use commitments that have been placed on the property that are part of the petition is presented to you, and the input and decisions that have yet to be made by the core development area stakeholders and eventually approved by St. Joseph County officials through the site plan process that are required for the eventual development of this property. In summary, you have a property before you with favorable recommendation from APC staff that is requesting a rezoning that is in alignment with the comprehensive plan. Industrial use has been identified as the most desirable use based on the criteria set forth in the comprehensive plan to include the property location, existing roadway, corridors, and utility infrastructure. So the petitioners are respectfully requesting the rezone to industrial with restrictive covenants in an area of the county that has been designated for industrial development for the past 20 years and is completely congruent with the comprehensive plan and vision of the IEC core development area. We request that Plan Commission pass this rezone petition for industrial rezoning with restricted covenants onto County Council with a favorable recommendation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aaron. Any questions by the commission?
Bob Hawley would like to ask the residents, I seen in the presentation a picture of a home. Is that in the L-shaped property?
No,
That is in the,
go ahead.
sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Okay, yeah, that home, Mr. Hawley, is on the southern property at the, that is the property
South of
occupied and
Early
held in life
Road?
estate.
Do you have the map?
Would it be south of Early Road then?
Ryan?
Correct.
Okay. Is it presently occupied by one of the petitioners?
I believe that it is, yes.
Thank you very much.
Any more questions by the petition, or by the commissioners? If not, we'll open this to the public. Is there anyone wishing, in present, wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Please come forward and state your name and address. Seeing none. Anyone online wishing to speak in favor of this petition, please raise your hand.
President Devon, this is Bill Shalio, Economic Development Director for St. Joseph County. Not smart enough to figure out how to raise my hand, so I figured I would just speak forward. But if allowed to speak, I would just speak favorably in favor of this petition. We're excited about the development opportunities that are continuing out in the Indiana Enterprise Center. We've had several lead prospects that we've submitted this area for. Our challenge has been the lack of rezoning on this piece of property. So the opportunity to have a 200-acre, nearly 200-acre site at the southwest corner of Edison and Larison really opens up some new opportunities for us from a development perspective, and we appreciate your consideration of this request.
Thank you, Bill. Anyone else online wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Seeing none. Anyone present wishing to speak against this petition, please come forward and state your name and address. Seeing none, anyone online wishing to speak against the petition, please raise your hand. Seeing none again, we'll now close this to the public. Any last comments by the commission or staff? If not, can we have a motion?
I, Elizabeth McCombs, make a motion that we pass 295721 with a favorable recommendation.
Bob Hawley seconds that motion.
This is county council, correct?
Correct. This will go to the county council.
We have a motion
Oh,
and
I
a
didn't
second to send APC 2957-21 to the county council with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor state by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have a reading for petition number 6, please.
APC number 2958-21, a proposed ordinance of Joseph and Christy Leininger to zone from A agricultural district to R single family district. Property located at 54506 Buckeye Road and 54620 Buckeye Road, St. Joseph County.
As you can see, this property is, I'll explain that this is just kind of to the northwest of the Northbridge Valley subdivision, which is having its water and sewer supplied by the city of Mishawaka. And this proposed development will have that connection for the water and sewer and the road coming up from the North Ridge Valley subdivision. And so this proposes to connect Buckeye to that subdivision, and it'll create the connection between the two, and because it'll have water and sewer, that'll alleviate that need. And as you can see in the packet, I included a concept plan. There could be 115, 130 homes, somewhere in that neighborhood developed. This is only a concept though, and the petitioner will be able to provide more information. As you can see in the concept plan, they are contemplating perhaps moving Willow Creek in order to accommodate this, but that would be a step taken during the subdivision process, which the plat committee would review. So for this property, as you can see, it's currently being used agriculturally. You can almost see in the distance in the middle, there's a break in the trees. That's where the Northridge Valley subdivision would come in. There is a telecommunications tower kind of in the middle of this area along Buckeye Road. That's shown in the distance right there. And there's the concept plan I alluded to with a connection on the south side right there in the kind of where the middle of that wooded area is. And looking at the overall area, I'll back up to the map. We reviewed this with the best available floodplain information, and it is shown that along Willow Creek, there is a floodplain on the west side of Buckeye Road. The best available information does not show it on the east side where this property is, but the petitioner is familiar with that. And when they do the work, if they do indeed move the Willow Creek ditch, they'll be cognizant of that as well. But it is not on the FEMA floodplain map at this time. And I'd be happy to answer any questions, but this comes to you with a favorable recommendation from staff, primarily due to the interconnectivity with the subdivision to the south, with the connection of municipal water and sewer. We believe this will create a really good subdivision for the community.
Any questions by the commission? May we have the petitioner, please?
Sure. Good afternoon. Mike Huber with Marsh Consultants, 315 West Jefferson Boulevard, South Bend, Indiana. I'm representing the Leinigers. We also are working with the prospective buyers of the property on the subdivision as well. As noted, the property includes 2 parcels. It's about 58 acres total on the east side of Buckeye Road. The site plan you saw is conceptual at this point, but we do think that we're probably, like Ryan said, in the 120 to 130 lot subdivision. As noted in the report, residential uses are pretty prevalent, becoming more and more prevalent here with the housing shortage we have in St. Joe County and kind of this region generally. We know there's a lot of pressure, in particular in this part of the county, for new residential properties to become available with the proximity to Granger and Mishawaka and the quality of life amenities that those 2 communities afford. What we think is as Ryan noted, what we think is best about this proposed subdivision is we're leveraging the municipal utilities through the Northbridge Valley subdivision and the connectivity of the Northbridge Valley subdivision that's located to the south to allow us to capture the density and to also not impact the area negatively through septic fields and the use of private septic systems. I think the staff report also notes that the soils here are not the most desirable for continued agricultural use. These are, I think, Tyner Estimo soils. They're a little bit low in the organic matter, and they also have a lower water capacity, which make them a little more susceptible to drought. So, continued farming there is not as productive as it could be on some of the other properties nearby, making it a little more conducive to being a residential development as well. We appreciate the opportunity to be here. The staff report's recommended additionally beyond what was included in they have recommended us take a sub-area planning approach to looking at this and trying to find ways to provide some different amenities or things and capitalize on some of the natural features of the site. Recognizing that our initial site plan is very conceptual, we are planning to relocate the creek, and I think as we do that, we'll be very conscious in listening to staff's comments and trying to see if there are opportunities we can find in there to preserve some of the naturally wooded areas or provide some trails or some amenity opportunities, possibly along the relocated creek, or how we can implement some of those things in with the drainage design of the subdivision. So we will take a fresh look at that when we move from conceptual into final design for the site plan. I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions by the commission or staff at this time?
Bob Hawley, I know that the layout is kind of a preliminary thing. Will there be any entrance off of Buckeye Road?
Yes, there'll be an entrance on Buckeye, and then it'll connect through to Northbridge Valley in the southeast corner of the subdivision.
Thank you.
We'll now open it up to the public. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Please come forward, state your name and address. Seeing none. Anyone on the Zoom call wishing to speak in favor of this petition, please raise your hand and state your name. Seeing none. Anyone present wishing to speak against this petition, please come forward and state your name and address. Again, seeing none. Anyone wishing to speak against this petition on the Zoom call, please raise your hand.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Go ahead.
Hi, this is Vince Beam. I live at 11382 Douglas Road, just to the east of the property. I'm not, the video portion is not working on my Zoom. I have just a few concerns. Northbridge Valley Estates obviously is to the southern part of my property. And I already have some nosy neighbors wanting to come on my property as it is, even though I have no trespassing signs up. And I have a huge concern that potential new homes along my property line will bring more people on my property that I don't want, which becomes a big liability issue for me. We are in the process of potentially regrowing Christmas trees. My property is an old Christmas tree farm. So I have concerns of people damaging my my property, as well as we're taking away area for wildlife. I know deer follow that creek line. And so those are just some of my concerns as a potential neighbor to 130 homes that weren't there before.
Thank you, Vincent. Anyone else wishing to speak against this petition, please raise your hand. Seeing none, we'll have a chance for the petitioner to have a rebuttal. Go ahead, Mike.
Yes, so if I understand, this gentleman owns the property that would be just to the east of our property, I think is what I thought, because he's north of Northbridge Valley, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, that's right. I think in terms of property line boundary crossing, these will be those will be the backyards of individuals' homes. You know, I'm not sure how many people will be going over across the property line into his property. I would assume a lot of people like to privacy fence their backyards and things like that. So, I don't know that I can respond to what the individual homeowners, how that would be handled.
Right. I do have one question actually. And so I've noticed there's a wood section that's in this proposed area that's already being logged. I mean, so has work already started before this petition's even passed, or is that from the current owners logging that ground?
I'm not aware that any work has started in conjunction with the project. As the engineering firm involved in this, I'm not aware that we started any work on the project at all. It could be the current owners are doing some work on the property themselves.
Okay. All right, thank you.
John, go ahead, John.
I'm John Percini with Coldwell Banker. I represent both parties here. The owner, the Leinigers, are clearing the woods right now. They wanted the opportunity to log it. They weren't going to farm it anyway, so that was their idea. Just to reiterate with Mike, we do have a lot of demand in this area, especially with the sewer, and there's going to be some protections, I would think. I mean, there are requirements to protect against properties, and I understand his concerns when you live out in the county and you get pushed by this growth, but those are probably more civil issues than issues dealing with the county. But hopefully he doesn't have a problem with that. There's going to be $350,000 to $400,000 homes, so you would hope that doesn't happen. So, but anyway, if you got any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Any comments by the commission? Otherwise, may we have a motion?
I, Elizabeth McCombs, make a motion that we pass this with a favorable 2958-21 with a favorable recommendation.
Bob Hawley seconds that motion.
We have a motion and a second to send EPC 2958-21 to the county council with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor say by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Make a note, we had one aye and we had 7, so we still pass, correct? Yep. Motion carries. Reading a text amendment B.
APC number 2959-21, a proposed ordinance of Area Plan Commission amending Title 15 Land Usage, Chapter 154, Planning and Zoning of the St. Joseph County Code, Section 154.277, University District Development Standards, and Sections 154.420, 154.421, and 154.423 off-street parking regulations.
Good afternoon. This is Sean Klein with Area Plan Commission staff. There's really two parts to this text amendment. They both pertain to the University District. The first of which is actually an effort to correct an unforeseen consequence from a 2019 text amendment to the zoning ordinance. This text amendment added private streets to the definition of street. And really the purpose of this text amendment was to allow for consistency in the development of residential subdivisions that front on private and public streets. Unfortunately, the way that the zoning ordinance is structured, this also led to private streets that are interior to campuses within the university district. The properties that abut these, traditionally, these were treated as side properties and only the side setbacks would apply there. As a result of that text amendment, we now had to treat these as front property lines and impose the more stringent front setback. If we were to continue to impose this front setback, it would lead to inconsistency in the placement of many of the campus buildings. And furthermore, we really don't see that there's any public purpose in imposing this setback within these internal streets that are within college and university campuses. Here's just an example. You can just see along this private right-of-way within the University of Notre Dame, for instance, just within that block, there are two buildings that would not meet the setback that would currently be applied as a result of this 2019 text amendment that we are looking to correct here. The second part of this text amendment before you would actually exempt the university district from off-street parking for motor vehicles and bicycles. And the impetus for this is just staff recognition that these campuses within the university district are really a diverse mix of many uses, so it's kind of difficult for staff to gauge what the parking needs are and how an interior renovation, for example, or construction of a new building on campus would really alter these needs. We feel that the university and colleges are in a much better position to determine their own parking needs, and we have no doubt that they will provide adequate parking to ensure for a well-functioning campus. So these come to you with a favorable recommendation from staff. We worked closely with a couple representatives from Notre Dame, and it was well received by the university as well. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Sean. And this being a text amendment, the Plan Commission is the petitioner, correct?
Correct.
So we won't have another petitioner. So any questions by the commission this time before we open it up? If not, I will open it up to the public. Anyone present? Nobody else is present. So anyone on Zoom wishing to speak in favor of this petition, please raise your hand.
Ron, this is Craig Tiller from the University of Notre Dame in the Planning, Design, and Construction Department. Just like to speak on behalf of the university. We certainly do favor both parts of this text amendment. It will allow us to continue with I think the appropriate flexibility to plan the campus community consistently with our campus plan, which has been in place for about the last 20 years and continues to be a great guiding document for us, as well as certainly it's a benefit for the greater community, we believe, with the ability to plan the building placement and the parking placement to provide a campus environment that's both very accessible and also very safe. So we are in full support of this.
Thank you, Craig. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition, please raise your hand. Seeing no one. Anyone wishing to speak against this petition, please raise your hand. Seeing none. Is there any last comments, questions by the commission or staff? Otherwise, may we have a motion?
Bob Hawley I would like to make a motion that we send this to the county council with a favorable recommendation.
I'll second that. Elizabeth McCombs.
We have a motion and a second to send APC 2959-21 to the county council with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor state by saying aye.
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 All those in favor, or all those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. I don't think we have any items not requiring public hearing, correct?
No.
So executive director's report?
All right. I apologize that I didn't get anything to you in written format, so I will just hit the highlights today. Even though you wouldn't know it by looking outside, we are headed into construction season. So we have a meeting full for ABZA. I think we have 12 petitions. Rezonings are going to be light next month. I believe we've only had one filed, correct, Ryan?
One plus the one that was tabled, so we'll
Correct.
do next month.
And then we continue to stay busy with ILP submittals and plan reviews. But the big ticket item that everyone is aware of is the comprehensive plan. The youth selection committee met to discuss the proposals last Friday and settled on a short list of 3 teams to interview. Interviews for the finalists are being scheduled for a week from Friday, at which time, after that is complete, the selection committee will likely get together and then make a recommendation to the commissioners on a consultant to move forward with to enter into a contract. Appropriation requests are also underway. I have a request on the council agenda for a committee hearing at the next meeting for an appropriation, and then I'm working through the redevelopment commission on an appropriation to also financially support the project. The redevelopment commission, if you recall, had passed a resolution end of last year during their budgeting process, affirming their support and their commitment to financially supporting the project, but actually need to take the request forward and have them approve the final amount.
Thank you. Just a note, when it was narrowed down from 12 initial submittals down to 3, so there was a lot of support, a lot of people interested in the project, so I think that was promising. So a lot of good candidates.
What was surprising to me is that Adam, and if anything that you have to say, how I think that we are going to be in an excellent position whichever way we go.
Yeah.
Multiple capable proposals.
Yeah. I think all of them were well qualified, but definitely some stood out better than others. So
Yeah.
We'll keep you updated. Anything else, Abby? Okay. We have a copy of minutes to approve.
Hey, Adam,
Go ahead, Bob.
this is Bob Hawley. Can I ask you a question?
It depends.
Can you hear me?
Depends what that question is,
Okay.
Bob.
That item number 1 that we tabled, is that the second or third time we've tabled that?
I believe that was the second.
Second time? Okay, thanks.
And Bob, this is Abby. They can table per our bylaws up to, I believe, 6 times or 6 months.
Oh, really? Okay, thanks.
And if they go past then they'll have to refile the petition.
Mhm. Thank you.
Any comments or questions on minutes? Otherwise, may we have approval of the minutes?
This is Jason. I make a motion that we approve the minutes for March 16th.
This is Elizabeth McCombs. I'll second that.
We got a motion, a second to approve minutes of March 16th, 2021. All those in favor, state by saying aye.
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 All those opposed,
Aye.
all those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
Elizabeth
This is-
McCombs, I make a motion that we adjourn at 4:31 PM.
Second, Bob
Jason.
Hawley.
Got a motion, a second to adjourn. All those in favor state by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you, everybody. See you next month.